Hello everyone, this is Andrea,
And I'm Chris from Lacuna Coil.
and you're watching The Age of Metal.
Hello everyone, we're here on Comerica Theater with Lacuna Coil today. They coming through our city on the Gigantour with Megadeth, Motorhead, and Volbeat. And I'm Chris and Andrea,
Yeah.
here from Lacuna Coil. And well, how has been the tour so far, guys?
Pretty good. I mean, it's been like 4.5 weeks now that we've been on this tour, and the atmosphere is great. Everybody's treating us really well, and we've been fed really well, and all the bands are cool people, and we had very good times. I mean, we were the opening band on this tour, but still we have enough people every day coming very early to see us. So it's just a perfect way to launch the new album, and play in front of a different crowd, and get a lot of promotion, a lot of interviews, a lot of radio stuff. So it's just perfect. I mean, so far really good. We still have like another week on the tour, and it's been really great. So no complaints at all.
That's great to hear. Well, let's talk about Adrenaline, Dark Adrenaline, who is your new album. What is the idea, concept, or the idea behind the album?
Well, I don't think there's like it's not a concept album that's not what we were going for. I mean, the songs that we started writing like a while ago, almost a year ago, turned out to be a lot darker and heavier, and so that's how the lyrics came about too. They followed the same kind of idea. It wasn't something that we planned. It was something that just happened because of like stuff that happened to some of the band members. No tragedies or like anything really bad, but like stuff that normally happens in life. And I guess that was the reason why the songs came out that way.
I see. Well, how was the writing process for this record?
Yeah, we started collecting some ideas in the end of the last year, and then Marco, the bass player, which is kind of the inner producer of the band, the guy that turns all the idea that can come from the guitar players or the vocals, or it turns them into the form of the song for Lacuna Coil. So he now has a new house with a little basement where he put a little home studio in it. It's very simple, like a laptop, a couple of speakers, and an audio card. But we've been working really well in that studio, pre-producing all the demos for the song, especially me and Christina going there with all our ideas for vocals, and then being there we could change and switch around the parts and make this song as a chorus, and then from one song another song could have been born, and this way we've been like really staying in the basement for a long time, like 3 or 4 months, and working almost every day on ideas and changing stuff. So it was very good to reach the best result for the songwriting, I think, because I think every song on the record is quite mature and has its own personality, and it's been worked really deeply with a lot of importance. There's no filler songs. Like every song we've tried to squeeze the best possible melody from the voice, from the guitars, to find a space for the lead guitars as well. So it's been a big job of pre-production. Even Don, the producer, came down to the Marcos home studio like a couple of weeks before we entered the studio, and we arranged all the structure of the songs together. And then we decided the parts. Then we've been going to the practice room with the drummer and then see all the feels for the drums, all the part, all the beats, and fix them before we actually started the real recordings. And then after that we've been entering a studio in Milan, in our hometown, which is a very old vintage studios that belongs to one of the prog musician of the PFM, which is a very famous Italian prog rock band from the 60s and 70s. And and we record all the music for the album in that studio. And then me, Christina, and Marco, the bass player, we've been flying to LA to finish all the vocals and the final keyboards arrangement in Don's studio in Tarzana in LA. And for another 3 weeks, and we finish all the lyrics and all the vocal parts and everything there. Then we've been mixing and mastering the album in Milan with different engineers.
Well, it seems like a long process to have short period of time, like you said. Well, Dark Adrenaline is a darker album than Shallow Life, your previous record. What make you go back to those kind of darker songs or kind of gothic songs?
I think there was something that we were missing from the previous album, because in that album we've been experimenting more of the electronic and rock side of our music. So we were kind of missing a little bit of the power of some songs that we had in the past, like on Karma Code or Comalize, or some of the more dark atmosphere, which has been our signature sound in the past. So we wanted this album to have the right balance between going somewhere else, somewhere new, with the production, with the sounds, with certain experiments, but also keep the essence of our sounds. Don't go too far from our original sound. And I think we've been able to reach this balance on this album, and I think that's why it's probably the most mature album we've been doing, because it features both the old Lacuna Coil as well as the new Lacuna Coil. So it's probably I see our career in cycles of like 3 albums. Like I think the beginning of our careers was Inner Reverie and Unleash Memories, and then Comalize was the best out of the 3 because it was the one that was more personal. I think like Inner Reverie was probably, we were sounding very gothic metal because we were coming from that scene and we wanted to sound like our favorite bands like Paradise Lost or Typo Negative or all those bands. And I think when we did Comalize, we reached a good level of more personal interpretation of that sound, which was the Lacuna Coil sound. And then we've been trying with Karma, because we've been going very complicated and heavy and symphonic in a way. And then Shallow Life more rock and electronic. So I think Dark Adrenaline is the 3rd record and is the best result of all the experiment of the second phase of our career, So I see that. I think this is the best album out of the last 3 for sure. And then now we see where we're going with the next one.
Yeah, it seems like a progression there. Favorite song out of Dark Adrenaline?
For me, probably, I think Trip the Darkness is the perfect song to sum up the essence of the record, because it has some of the more epic gothic melodies from the chorus, and also some of the more modern riffing on the beginning of the song, as well as some of the traditional, more sort of ethnical stuff that we do. Like we have this mandolin in the beginning that recalls the Italian traditional music. So that song is a perfect example. But to be honest, I don't have a favorite song, because there's so many different kind of songs in the album that I like for different reasons. I don't know. Maybe he has a different.
Chris?
Well, as Andrea said, I can't really pick one specific song that is better than the others, because I think that the level that we reached with this album is actually pretty consistent. I mean, as we said before, with Shallow Life, we try to experiment a little bit more, and so some songs made it up to the album that were maybe a little bit different. I mean, this album is actually more consistent, and the style, the level of the songs are all there, So, I mean, I have some songs that I maybe like the most because of certain reasons, but not because they're better than others, because each song really represents what the different aspects of our music. There's some songs that are heavier and remind you more of the Karma Code era, and some other songs that are more a little closer to what we did on Shallow Life, but with the experience that we actually gathered when we were doing that album, and knowing that we can maybe mix it more with the stuff we were previously doing. So I think it's an album that has pretty much every song, as he said, we tried to give the best, to try to reach the best possible result.
Great. Well, on this album, you again use the services of Don Gilmore as a producer. How was the experience working with him on studio this time around?
I mean, he is a great producer with a lot of experience, and he comes from a different environment, more from a rock, also pop sometimes kind of experience. While in the past we've been always working with Valdemar Sorikta, our previous producer, which is a metal producer, definitely a metal guitar player and a metal producer. So when we changed from Valdemar to Don, we were looking for somebody that has a different kind of experience, because Valdemar has been learning us everything we know about songwriting, about arranging songs and make them sound like metal songs. So after like 3 or 4 albums with him, we decided to change because we wanted to look for something different to learn. And Don on Shallow Life we've been learning a lot, working with him, especially about lyrics writing and then structure of songs and more straight to the point songs as well. But that was also the first time we worked with him, so we kind of had to experience working with him to understand where he was helping us like 100%, or where maybe we shouldn't follow his ideas. Maybe we should go more our own idea. So this time we were more able to really use him in the best way possible, because we had more experience and we have established a very good relationship with him, very friendly relationship. So I think for this album has been the best choice, because we know his stronger points and we know also where we don't need him. Like Shallow Life has been also mixed by Don, while this time we've been mixing with a different guy, because we knew that Don is more of a rock-oriented sound. So if we let him mix the album, it's gonna probably turn out a bit more soft and rock, while we wanted the album to be more heavy and punchy. So we mixed it with a friend of us that worked on Karma Code as well in Italy, called Marco Barusso, which is an engineer, a very famous engineer in Italy, and he helped us. He's a metalhead, so he helped us really reaching the result we wanted to have from the sound of the guitars and the drums and the vocals. So it was the perfect choice to mix it and master it with somebody else, because we've learned from the previous experience.
I see. Well, in this album, you add a cover of Losing My Religion by R.E.M. Why R.E.M. and why specifically that song?
Well, the idea to cover Losing My Religion was actually there already when we were working on Karma Code. So that's like between 2004 and 2005. We wanted to record a cover song, and we had like many different candidates at the time. One of them was Losing My Religion. One of them was like Enjoy the Silence. We had Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. I mean, we tried different songs, and at that time, Enjoy the Silence was the one that actually came out the best. I mean, we really loved the arrangement, and the vocal line fit perfectly. So that song was at the time the best possible result. While we were actually working on the songs for Dark Adrenaline, though, Marco tried to pick up Losing My Religion again and started working on it, and came up with some really, really good ideas for the song. And we just thought it was the perfect time to try and record it. And I mean, we're really happy with the result. At that time, we didn't know that R.E.M. were going to split up. So it was like something that we randomly did that was really, really cool. The song, I think, is like just like a Lacuna Coil song with R.E.M. lyrics on it, because the music is totally Lacuna Coil. So that was the right time for it to be on the record.
Well, Dark Adrenaline also achieved the highest chart debuted in the United States for the band, with 15 on Billboard, numbers 2 on Hard Rock and Alternative, number 5 in Rock Album, and number 3 on Independent charts. Why do you think Dark Adrenaline did so well on the charts compared with your previous records?
I mean, to be honest, Dark Adrenaline is the second album that goes in the top 20 in America. Even Shallow Life did pretty well, did like 18, I think. So it's big pleasure for us and an honor to be for the second time able to put a record up there in the top 20s, because we're a band from Milano, Italy. So it's not very common. You don't hear many other bands from Italy doing metal music and singing in English that actually make it to the charts. So it's very unexpected and a big honor for us, as a European band. And I think we have a consistent fan base that goes out there and buys our record the first week, and that's great because they're very loyal fans that allowed us to do this great result. But then I have to say that these are great results, especially for the press in a way, you know, because if you then don't sell anymore any CDs the next week, then it's over. You know, okay, it's great you do the debut, but then if you don't follow with a constant sales for the album, then it's not a great result. You know, so it's great to promote and say, okay, we've been number 15, 3, 2, 1, whatever. You know, we've been doing good in Canada, in Europe, but then it has to be followed by more exposure for a band, like more touring, more convincing more fans to come on board, convincing the old fans to buy the record. So it's important that we keep going and keep working the album, even if it's obviously a very pleasant start to be in the charts, you know. So it's important as a status, but also it's important that now we keep working and convincing more people, giving more chance to the album to be listened to a lot of other people, to then keep going, you know. It's better to stay like for a year in the charts, even at position 190, but constantly being there and selling CDs every week, you know. It's more important actually in the end of the cycle for the result of the album. So it's great and we like it, but hopefully we can keep going, you know.
I see. Well, in this tour, in Gigantour, Lacuna Coil has been playing different acoustic shows in Chicago, Toronto, New Jersey, and is one coming up on Colorado, in Denver. Any reason in particular to do this kind of acoustic out of the regular?
I think it was something that first came up when we came over in like 2003, I think, and Heaven's Lie got a lot of airplay, you know, like WAF in Boston started playing it a lot, and like then a lot of radio stations came and followed, you know. So they actually asked us to go in and like play something like live on the air. And obviously we couldn't go in with the whole band, you know, so we just decided like, why don't we try and we play something with just 2 guitars and 2 voices, you know, which was something that was a lot more doable. You know, you can just go in, usually it's like a small room, you have a few mics here and there, and you just play there in front of the DJ and that's it, you know. So we tried and it actually worked out very well. We then got asked like also to perform some shows in like record store or I don't know, the Hard Rock Cafe in Denver and whatever, and it's something that our fans actually liked a lot, and we decided we'd do it whenever we had the chance, you know. I mean, something we had done for a long time now, and it's fun because it's a different atmosphere when you play at a regular show. Like, it's very loud, like there's a lot of energy, like people like jumping, moshing, whatever. And when you play these kind of acoustic shows, it's a lot more intimate, you know. People are more like watching, enjoying the show rather than just like jumping around and like be crazy, you know. So it's 2 different aspects of our music that I think go very well in hand with each other, you know. It's something that you have the more energetic Lacuna Coil on stage, and then these more intimate little shows where people can enjoy it, like, well, maybe sitting down or whatever, you know. So.
Well, Lacuna Coil, I mean, has that ability to put the shows on or put the music in acoustic version. This year, the band is nominated to the 2012 Revolver Golden Gods Awards in the category of Best International Band, along with heavy competition from Behemoth, Meshuggah, Rammstein, Sepultura, and Japan. How do you feel about this nomination?
Well, it's great to be nominated because it means that the band is still on the radar, even after a few albums and a few years, still considered a relevant band, just like the ones you mentioned that are great bands. So we know it's a hard competition, especially I think Rammstein has a much wider audience than any of the other bands on this list. But it's just great to be there, to be there and to know that people is still paying attention to what we do, to they recognize the band as one of the most personal bands out of Europe, out of somewhere else, and so it's a great pleasure to be nominated. We know it's a hard competition. We don't. I mean, if we win, it's great. Obviously, we invite everybody to vote for us, but still, it's not that important compared to the fact to be there. It's like when you go to the Oscar, to the Academy Awards. It's just great to be there because it means that you've been on the high level of competition for what you do, and that's the best reward. Then if you win, you can win because of some votes more or less, but that's not very important in the end.
All right. Once the Gigantour is over, Lacuna Coil is going back to South America this coming April with Lamocat and Hybrid. What can the South American crowds can expect from this Lacuna Coil on new shows down there?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to Mexico City for a headline show, and then right after that we go to Brazil, Argentina, and Chile with Lamb of God and Hybrid. That's a kind of a little festival. I think every band will play like an hour set. So it will be literally a festival, traveling festival, and I think it's gonna be great because those bands, they don't go there very often. Like us, we've been just once in South America before this time. So it's gonna be a special show. We're gonna try to play music that is doing well at festival, at big live events. So not maybe the most slow ballads, but probably something more energetic and maybe a couple of the slower songs. But I think it's going to be great because people over there have such a great energy, and there's so much willing to see bands, and they're hungry for music because they don't get to have all the tours that we have here in North America or in Europe. So it's always, I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a great experience, and it's a mixed up lineup, very different bands. But I think it will go together as a festival. So it's kind of it's going to be good, I think.
All right, a couple of days ago, it was announced that Lacuna Coil is going back to the Metal Female Voices Festival in Belgium after an absence of 7 years. What are your expectations of the festival, especially?
Well, I don't know. The first time we played there was right when we were mixing Karma Code. So that was like, I guess it was end of 2005 or beginning of 2006. And the festival only had done like a couple years before that. I mean, it was one of the very first year they started. And I remember it was actually really good. They were like, at that time, I don't remember, I think Liv's Eyes was there. There were Within Temptation. I mean, it was a, as the name says, like a female voices oriented festival. All the bands had like females like singing. I think it's actually great that we have the chance to go back there after so many years. I mean, after all we've done around the world and stuff, because it means that, like, although we maybe shifted away a little bit from like our initial like goth style or whatever, people still want to see us like as part of that scene. I mean a lot of people are still very interested in that, and I remember it was a really good thing like many years ago, and I think it's going to be even better this time. I mean, after they had the chance to go for a few years and like make the festival bigger. I mean, I keep hearing a lot of people asking us like, for some reason, like, why don't you play the Female Voices Festival again? And that's a question we get asked a lot.
Yeah,
Great.
I mean, it's gonna be full of girls, so it's not bad.
It's a good reason to be there.
Well, I mean, right after the Gigantour and South America is the summer coming up. Any festivals that Lacuna Coil is going to be playing? Looking forward to the summer.
Yeah, I mean, we first of all, after South America, we're gonna come back here in the States for a headlining run that we're gonna announce soon, and it's gonna be in April, and then all through mid-May. Then we're gonna go opening for Rob Zombie and Megadeth for like 10 shows, and there will be some of the radio station festivals here in North America, like Rock on the Range and Welcome to Rockville and Rocklahoma, I think. and then we go straight to Europe. Actually, this kind of the same day we're flying from America to Germany to play a festival there, and then go home for. And then we have all summer planned with summer festival in Europe. So it's going to be every weekend 2 or 3 shows for all June and July and all mid of August as well. And then we're going to take a break between middle of August and middle of October, and then start the European headline tour. And then after that, I think we're going to do those territories we haven't done so far. So maybe Japan, Australia, India, those are all other kind of markets where you only go for a show or 2 and then come back.
Well, I want to thank Andrea and Chris for the time with us here at the H Metal. Any last words that you have for our viewers or readers?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we hope they can give a chance to Dark Adrenaline. I think it's a good record. If you never heard Lacuna Coil, it's a good record to start because it features both the old sound and the new songwriting skills of the band. So I think I recommend it to check it out. And if they like it, then come see us live and support the band. And you can go on Facebook, our official Facebook page. You can listen to some of the songs and read the history of the band. Keep in touch with me, Christina. We have our Facebook pages, or even the Lacuna Coil website, which is lacunacoil.it, like Italy. And those are the main sites for news. So if you want to stay in tune with the band, in touch.
What about Chris?
Yeah, I mean, as Andrea said, like, both check out our latest album and if you have the chance, come out and see us live too, because some people have told us many times they didn't expect that kind of energy on stage when we play the songs. I mean, we try to be very heavy and powerful when we play live, and it could be a very different kind of show than what you're expecting.
Well, thank you very much. That was a report from Miguel through the H Metal.